Peaceful greetings, all. I'm your brother, man, B. Davis L. All right. So, what I'm about to go over right now, thank you for the love. What I'm about to go over right now are I'm just going to give my evidence, right? My evidences in regards to what has. Ooh, ooh, shit. Excuse me. Put that out. I don't even need that right now. All right. I'm going to talk about the things that I myself have observed with using my passport, right? So I'm going to share this information with you all, right? So I, right, that's what we are. All right. Uses of the passport. No. All right, so this is what I'm going to be talking about right now because I'm inspired to speak about it. You know, I'm mulling over these ideas. I'm looking at the losses, the gains, and I'm trying to balance everything, right? And so I'm going to speak about these things that I know for a fact, personally, things that I've been able to do with this passport, which leads me to not even believe, but have faith in the use of this passport number as a mechanism to it is your economic security key, basically. All right. So I know for a fact that using my passport number, there has been sales tax exemption. Okay, so I have receipts in which the passport number has been identified as a tax exemption certificate. Sir. Okay. I know for a fact that when I use my passport book or card, I'll even give you a couple of the stores. So the main one, PetSmart, because I'm a dog breeder, right? And I've went to PetSmart on many occasions with no hassle. Purchased the dog food, the toys, whatever the case may be. And at the register, I state this is a tax exempt sale. And I hand them my passport. And they place my passport number into their system. And they may or may not, some places don't, but other places may ask you, what is the name of the organization, right? And I just give the last four letters of my last name, DAVI. That's what I do, right? But the passport number registers as a tax exemption, a tax exemption certificate. This I know. Okay. Uh, I know that when I was employed and I used my passport for employment, I remember studying the I-9 form, and it's saying that all you need is your passport in order to work somewhere, as opposed to if you don't have your passport, then you may need two items, one from list B, one from list C. So having that in mind, I gained employment with my passport. Okay. So again, this is the entering of the passport number instead of a social security number. And what I noticed when I received my W-2 back in the mail for the year, that I had zero federal withholding. Now, I did mark that I did not believe that I would be liable the year before or the year present for any tax. And again, when the W-2 came back, it took out state, it took out Social Security as it's supposed to, right? But there was no federal withholding. Okay, so again, this I know. Your passport will do this for you. This I know. All right. Right, we're going to stick on what I know. So at this particular time, we'll say that it is a but we're going to put an asterisk here. Okay, so I've used it as a set-off instrument, or so I'm led to believe, right? So I took my passport information and I got in contact with the gas company. And I basically, in so many words, expressed to the gas company that I desired to remove my Social Security information on my account and to update it with my passport information, right? And they've done that, right? And for two cycles, I have received the statement of the gas bill, stating that no amount is due at this time. Now, with the gas bill, I was still on a public benefits program, right? So I've gotten myself off of the public benefits program for sure. So now I need to see this third month, how that's going to play out. So I've had two cycles so far with the gas, but I'm having resistance with the electric. So I've done the same thing with the electric company. Got in contact with their customer service, expressed to them what it is that I desire to do. And I've been told that it's been done, but I'm also, there is also doubt that has crept in due to my most recent correspondence from them. There is doubt that they may not have actually placed my passport number up there. Now, if they have, then I'm not quite sure why it has not set off, right? Because I did it last month to see what would happen this month. This month, the utility bill came in and still stating that there's an amount due. And again, there's an amount from the public assistance program that I was on at the time. So this carried over along with the amount, right, for the month. And so again, I'm not quite sure what's going on here. So again, I'm going to look to the third cycle with the gas. Should the gas come back and there be an amount, then I will be able to determine, hey, maybe there's something that I am not doing correct, right? But if that gas bill comes back next month and it's zeroed out again, then that's going to let me know that it does do what it is that I imagined it did, and that there is an issue with the electric company. So we have that, right? What else? What else? What else? Hmm. Okay, so on the 7th of this month, I will be going into court after a year-long litigation. Nothing major. I will be going into the court in equity, utilizing utilizing my passport as a fiduciary agent identity. Where is it at? Do I have it on my bed? So we're going to see as well in court just show you all briefly. Nothing major, right? This is just a certificate of compliance. So you see that every time I place any information on the record, right, that where it says attorney number, if applicable, I place my passport. Okay? Because I am to understand that my passport is an official agent or auth rep, right? So your passport, the identity of your passport is that of what's called a constituent member. Constituent means contractual. All right. There's an agreement of a party. There's a party. You're a member of a party. Okay. So I'm a member of Pennsylvania Commonwealth. Right. So as a constituent member, I have the authority to attorn for and or to represent another. And so that's a fiduciary. Absolutely. So I can now come into the court representing the state, right, and administrate what they call the straw man, or administrate this person on behalf of the state and not claim myself to be that person. I can represent that person because I will be in an official agent capacity, right? So I'll be the principal officially acting as the state. I'm an attorney now. So as the state takes is the surety, right? But then I'm also an equitable owner, right? So I'm standing in this capacity. I'm sacrificing myself, if you will, with no controversy for the better good. All right, and then I get to take off my hat, right, or take off my person, the fiduciary, right, and step into the equitable role, right, never being the asset, never being the debtor. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. Your passport is an official national statesman identification. You have the status of a constituent member. Your voice can be heard, is to be heard. All right, this is the importance of your passport. Domestic and foreign affairs, right? So I understand that the passport has more force than just being able, excuse me, to travel about. Let me ask you this, right? You cannot leave the continental United States with this, right? You can go to Canada, you can go to Mexico, right? You can go to the Atlantean Islands, right? The Bahamas, stuff like that. But you can't really get anywhere else with this. What benefit would this be as a travel identification in the United States if that's all it is? That is not all this is, right? So this is what's called a nationally protected person. A lot of people get caught up on, we're not the person. You are not the person. You have a person, and your person is either secured or it's not secured. Okay? This is the bag. This is your secured person. Secured person, another word for person, when it's secured especially, is party. So this is your secured party. Again, this is the reason why I'm going in as the secured party and creditor in court. Right? So what benefit? These would have the same benefits. Okay? But this doesn't allow me to leave the continent. So what other benefits are there in this that are along with this? Because this allows me to take my secured party globally. So there has to be some type of commercial value, particularly credit, through this identification. All right. Not everybody has a passport. A lot of people don't see the need of having a passport because they say, I'm not traveling. This is the only real ID in the land, is your passport. It said, this is your card. Your card says passport on it. So that makes it a passport card. But it also says nationality on it. And so this is also, a nationality card. It has your birthplace on it. So this is a birthright card. Right? It has your image and your likeness on it with the state. So this is your state. This is your nationality, your nation state card. Full faith and credit backed by your state card. So this card has authorization. Again, I've told you I've been able to use, like I've gone to, I'm in the Pittsburgh area, and I'm aware that not everybody has the same types of stores, right, or the names of stores anyway. But I've been to the Giant Eagle Get-Go, right? And I was able to use my passport, and they scanned it. They didn't have to type it in. So I know that my card can be typed in or scanned in. And it affords me exemptions that I found unusual, right? O'Reilly's Auto Parts, another store that I'm able to go into, right? Use my passport, and when I purchase items and this information is, we'll say, presented, right, or like a code is up, But anyway, whenever this information is applied, it shows that I do not pay a tax, and it shows that that number is a tax exemption certificate. I have intentions on going to Walmart, going to their human resources department, and telling them, hey, I have a passport and I would like a tax exempt card. Because I've already done this. I used to have, I lost my wallet some years back, right? But I had a Walmart tax exempt card, right? And I used, for lack of a, I used my own homemade ID to get it, right? But I had to explain some things, and there were principles involved with the ID that I used, right? But now I see that those same principles, I don't even have to argue or debate, right, or go over whether my ID is real or not, because this is accepted everywhere. This is accepted everywhere. So now I can just do these things with my passport rather than these other identity cards, whatever. Yeah. So again, I've had some successes, and I don't wish to I don't wish to say that I've had any failures yet, right? Because I haven't concluded yet the issue with the electric company. But this is This is observable information. All right, I can tell you all 100% that your passport is a sales tax exemption certificate, an excise tax exemption certificate, and again, we're going to see we want the third cycle to come in. That'll be next month, particularly with the gas, right? When the gas comes back and it states again that there is no amount to be due, then I can conclude that it actually does set off, and that the issue that I'm having with the other utility company, right, may be due to their misunderstanding as opposed to my maybe misapplication of information. So, man, I know that this passport is supposed to act, it's your professional ID, whatever role that can be played within the state. Your passport plays that role. It gives you that authorization. The people are looking for their rights. Your rights are authorization, right? A permission is an authorization. Some people don't like the word permission. Then it is an authorization. Some people don't like authorization. Then it is a jurisdictional right. Whatever you wish to call it, you have everything it takes to accredit a nation. You have everything that is required to bring a nation out of debt and into credit is here in your passport. Your state has the trust. Your state issued you the estate. You have all of these. You're already the beneficiary. And then you take that estate that was given to you when you were young, and you give it back, you pledge it back, and you get your professional ID. You give them the debits that they gave you at birth, right? Because they funded your estate was funded with unlimited value. What do they call it? The Cesta KV? That's what you wish to call it. Okay? You have an unlimited debit account. And for every debit, there is an equal credit. And in order to get to the credit, the debit has to be secured. When you pledge your collateral, your debit as collateral, back to your state that gave it to you, they secure you. So this is a secured debit. This is your Fourth Amendment right. We, the people, the right of the people to be secured in their persons. This is that. Okay? I was able to exercise the First Amendment. Right? I have my religious regalia. Right? So without doubt or contradiction, I'm a Muslim. There can be no assumption that I'm anything other than. Right? We know, or we've been led to believe, right, whether it be television, social media, etc., right, that official statesmen, right, that they have privileges or preferred treatment over the average citizen. We see that, right? We see that a lot. So there's a preferred treatment. Do we need an affidavit of certificate with applying for passport and affidavit of certificate? I don't quite know what you mean, but affidavit of certificate. Okay. So what you would desire you would like, yes, an affidavit. An affidavit is required. An affidavit is you speaking, you are telling your recorder, the U.S. Department of State, which you feel you need them to know about yourself. Okay, so yes, you would require an affidavit, absolutely. Okay, mine's the affidavit that I used. It was an affidavit of truth, declaration of national allegiance, something like that. And I outlined some information that I desired to be on the record. And remember that whatever you put on your affidavit, that, if for whatever reason, anywhere on the planet, your information, someone requires higher clearance and they get past the wall, they're going to be able to see what it is, or they'll be informed, hey, they said that they are this, they are that, etc. Because this is your claim. When you're filling out the DS-11, you're making a claim to your estate as fiduciary. You're saying, hey, I've grown up. I can administrate it on my own now. I can co-administrate now. So in this capacity, they still are there to help you, but you're learning how to do for yourself as well. So again, when you have your passport, you put yourself on a level standing with everyone in the state. And because they're all constituent members, you should be able to call on them for aid and assistance. Right? you have the same capacity, I would not be surprised. I would be surprised if there was ever a judge that did not have a passport. You know, I could never imagine a real judge not having a passport. A judge is a minister of justice. I'm an administrator too. Of what? Of justice. Same thing. And religiously, I'm a minister of Jesus. Because Jesus is salvation. Jesus is redemption. Jesus and his Father were one, and Jesus drew all his power. He derived all his power and authority from the truster. And Jesus didn't argue with anybody about anything. He let them do whatever. He said, this ain't even really about me. So, again, absolutely. Do we praise Jesus? Yes. Do we worship Jesus? No. Anywho, your passport puts you on a level that, again, preferred treatment. I've asked myself, if I were to take a trip to the Sudan, just pick a place, right? And I go to the Sudan, I am insured by the United States. I know that I am insured, right? If something were to happen to me, if I were to be mistreated in any way, right? The United States would be able to secure me, and we'll say that the Sudan would definitely have to make ends right, apologize, etc., etc. All right. But if I were to be out anywhere, let's say I hurt myself, all right? I go to the hospital. They need to identify me, correct? Correct. I give them my passport, right? Correct, correct. It's online with the embassy, right? Correct, correct. So whoever's paying that health care, there's a write-off right there through my passport. I had a brother say, well, in other places, in other countries, they have free health care. Understandable. But there's still there's still a commercial transaction. If you required my passport when I got hurt, remember you can't use your driver's license outside of America. Okay? So, and just really think on that, because if you were to go and move somewhere else, do they have driver's licenses and stuff? Right? How do they? But that's a whole nother story. Because I'm not against the driver's license. I believe that everyone should go and get a passport and then use the passport to get their driver's license. That's what I would, instead of, there's a lot of people, they're rescinding and sending back their driver's licenses. I understand why. But if I can secure my straw man, right, and then go and get that driver's license and my passport information rather than my personal information, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. Because again, anything that you do with your passport, you have preferred treatment. You are ministerial. You are sovereign because the authority of the state is sovereign. Every single one of you, the people in your state, has the very same authority. Sovereignty is with the nation, with the state. So I have sovereign immunity because I am Pennsylvania. I have ministerial immunity. Ministerial. Administrative. Judges have administrative. They have that. They have those immunities. Some of them, hey, look, if you know, I can't think of it offhand, but there's some type of provision for judges, some type of immunity, that they try to shield themselves under. These things apply to yourself as well. You have administrative, I don't wish to say immunity, you have administrative authorization, permission and authorization. You're authorized. You're official. You're professional. You are a professional statesman. You also have diplomatic. Why do I believe that I have diplomatic status or diplomatic, what did I just call it? Authority. Why do I believe that I have diplomatic authority? I am a Muslim in Pennsylvania, and I am also a Pennsylvania statesman. When I go into another nation's territory, another religion, another jurisdiction, religious, ecclesiastical, I am coming as a prime minister or as a national representative of the Islamic community in peace. So I have the diplomatic / ambassador authority to represent my nation of Muslims within the greater nation of Pennsylvania that is made up of Muslims, Jews, Christians, and so on. Interfaith relations and foreign affairs. You have your First Amendment right is telling you that you have a right to profess your religion. Your religion makes you different from someone else who has a different religion, only different in the way that you apply your law. So again, I would be coming, let's say that there were some Hindu brothers and sisters. Let's say there was some type of national convention. We'll just put it that way. And myself coming in as a Muslim, right? And you've got some Sikhs, and you've got some Hindi, and you've got some Pakistani, right? And some of them are Muslims, and some of them are non-Muslims, right? As a Muslim to a non-Muslim, I'm an ambassador for the Muslims. And as a Pennsylvanian, right, let's say as representing Pennsylvania going to, let's say, New York or something, I'm a Pennsylvania diplomat having foreign relations with New York. These capacities are there. They're there. If we are to understand that the founding fathers desire to establish and ordain governance that protects the people and uplifts the people, right? If we can really consider, then of course George Washington was a Virginia diplomat. Aren't we supposed to be like the founding fathers? William Penn was a Pennsylvania diplomat. Thomas Jefferson. I believe Thomas Jefferson was, let me see. You get the point, though. They were all statesmen. They were all diplomats. They were all representatives for their states. And what they are, you are. It's your founding father. So you are the child who is what? Who is coming to take the place of the father. I am a Pennsylvania diplomat and Muslim ambassador. By virtue of office, Not because I think that's pretty cool, but because I understand the roles in government, right? And I'm performing. I am performing. And for my performance through the state, I receive compensation. I receive safe passage. I get to move around, especially with this. I get to move around not just state to state, but country to country, shore to shore, sea to sea. And the United States says, yeah, that's one of ours over there. That's a national. Particularly, he's Pennsylvanian. And that's one of his birthplace is Pennsylvania. His nationality is USA. He's an American. He's good anywhere in America. Bring his ass back. We got him. Listen to your Secretary of State. What? Listen to this. This is the Secretary of State is your national representative for the entirety of the United States. Listen. The Secretary of the State, the Secretary of State of the United States of America, hereby requests all whom it may concern to permit the citizen who is a national of the United States named herein to pass without delay or hindrance, and in case of need, to give all lawful aid and protection. Protection is security. It's authorization. Someone has secured, you're secured. Your passport, you're protected. The Secretary of State should protect this person. This is an internationally protected person. So why wouldn't these things work is what I'm saying. If I have these authorities, these protections, these provisions, if I'm to understand that I am now operating as a secured party and creditor of the nation, right? I'm supposed to understand that when I pledged my collateral debt, the birth certificate and the insurance policy, the debit insurance policy, when I pledged that beneficiary estate, I received equitable title through my passport. I said, here, I gave it back. Here. This is yours. This don't belong to me. Here. Let me get it secured. I'm giving you all my debt. Now give me credit in exchange. So it's my credit as the state. I have unlimited credit. So these set-offs, all right, this is why it makes sense to myself. Because I recognize what that birth certificate and social security account was. I understand what was going on when you're giving the passport, when you're filling out the application, right? I gave an affidavit to express specifically as an heir what it is that I desire and require, or how I desire and require for my estate to be administered under Islam, under equity. Right? And I received recognition. I answered up and applied to the government of the United States of America, and I was recognized by name and principles, by nationality and birthright. And so have you, right? I was speaking to a good brother the other day, and we were speaking about withholding agents and limited liability companies and sole proprietorships, right? And the brother was explaining to me this concept that he himself had found himself in. And, he finds himself in a couple of circles. And there's just good information circulating. And so he's sharing with me the way I share with him. And he's explaining to me these concepts. And I'm like, you know what? Like everything that you're saying, that passport conceptually already holds that status, right? We were talking about banking and broker becoming the bank, becoming the banker, becoming the banker, right? Possibly. So we have the power to create any type of business and do any type of business. And when you do business professionally, you have all the credits, you have all the authorizations necessary or required to handle those affairs. So your passport would operate as a withholding agent, as a broker, if you establish things correctly, right? We are gods. God to me means governing, operating department. Government operating depot. So we are all gods with the ability to create. And we created our bodies and we possessed our bodies. And now that we are in our bodies, we create as creditors in the physical. You are a creditor because a creditor creates out of nothing. Debt is nothing. Debt, the no thing, its value is zero. It has a value. It's the starting point. So out of that nothing, you create something. You accredit that nothing to something. And you perfect it. You make it a thing. All right? So your secure party creditor process, all of these concepts that we have, that we're learning about, right? That we are attempting to experiment with, it is applicable through your passport. This I've studied enough information in the secure party diaspora to realize that I was told that I need a trust, and then I need to fund that trust, that I needed to somehow not be contracted into business with the federal government. I'm like, all of this shit happens with your passport. It's already there, right? The secure parties tell you to come in as foreigners. That's the only issue I have. I have an issue with that. I do not wish to seek the provisions of the land and not recognize the authority of the state. These people who tell you don't give the social security number, right? They're trying to get away from honor, in my opinion, right? Don't give them the social. If I don't give the social, in order for me to get the passport, I'm going to need at least 2 verified, notarized statements from 2 other individuals. So then they'll assume the liability. All right? Yeah, people trying to tell you, look here, if you don't use that social security number, you have not laid claim to your estate. Correct. If you have an official business, you have to act and be honorable. Absolutely. 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 So, what other things? So now I'll go into secondhand. I'll go into some secondhand information, right? Um, but this is all me. This is what I'm dealing with personally, right? So, um, there's a brother, you may or may not know him. He calls himself the Bad Wolf, Brother James C. Lovett, right? Yeah, no, that was cool, right? So, this brother has some pretty good content. I see that he is a networking individual, and I'm into that. I think that's beneficial. And I see that his heart is in the right place, right? I don't get uh, uh, I do not get the feeling, if you will, that this brother is conniving or deceptive. I see that brother as, I mean, he's a pretty damn fair businessman. I fucks with the bro, right? And I've been watching his information, right? And so these are some of the things that I've heard this brother speak about, right? So the most recent that I caught. So remind you though, these are now not my experiences, right? But this brother has stated that there was an individual who utilized the process that he's presented in getting your passport, and that they had traveled somewhere off of the continent. Can't remember quite where. But when this individual got to, wherever they were going, it was something about their passport was noticed, right? And so the individual took their passport, told them, come sit down. This individual went in the back and came back out with like the ambassador of the embassy, something to that effect, which is unusual. Supposedly there was a back and forth conversation. Where'd you get this passport? The individual said, I just filled out the passport. The ambassador was like, yeah, no. So again, it was a show that there were indications in the passport that were unusual, right? And long story short, the ambassador individual tells the passport holder in America, hey, you've made it to the club, or something like that. But it gave him his card, said, if you need anything, you call me. This person was just on vacay, right? Now, this person didn't have a black passport, right? The people say the diplomatic, he didn't have a black passport. You know what? No, right. Because supposedly he was just acting like it was a regular. Right. So he didn't have the black passport, and yet he was treated like a diplomat. Greetings, 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 greetings. Right? Um, I continue to see people out there doing the work, right? Using their passports. So here's the thing, right? We hear people talk about the do not detain. Let me erase this so that we hear about this do not detain, right? Okay. I do not think that people understand what do not detain represents. It is not some magical list. All right. The do not detain comes out because your passport acts It operates as an interstate driver's permit. It could be international. That's where the do not detain comes in. Yes, you're driving. You have permit. You're not allowed to drive with a passport. Right. Right. I'm going to call it whatever I need to call it. And right now, this is a driver's permit. I have permission to drive on the roads, and on the public roads with private provision. Don't detain me. Leave me alone. And again, this is why I said it earlier, and I'm going to attempt to do so. I would like to go and get my driver's license now that I have a passport, rather than to have gotten the driver's license with the Social Security information. So I've spoken to some people. I've heard some people have stated that they've used their passport to get a driver's license. So I'm motherfucking gonna try that too. Because again, my master teacher, my mastermind, my higher self taught me to leave all old business as it is. And so that old business to me is the sole prop. That's the full liability Social Security entity. So leave all that old business as it is. Don't keep running it up, right? Just let it remain. Don't even get rid of it. Just let it remain, because you need that. That's your debt. That's your debit asset. He said, do all new business in your free national name. So I know their free national name, my free national name is Pennsylvania. All right. So that's telling me to do business with my passport number and not my Social Security number. And again, I've already explained that when I was literally doing business as an employee, that there was a federal withholding exemption. It's a lamb. I thought she was coming in, my bad. All right. All right, yeah. So the do not detain. It's a I would say interstate, but international driver's permission, right? Copper Moonshine Distillery. If you're not familiar, coppermoonshinedistillery.com. Definitely go check that brother's information out, right? This brother has stated that the passport number, when used, I think he said along with, and he said that he was able to get, well, that might have been the international driver's permit. But even still, there's a possibility that you can get a discount in car insurance utilizing an international driver's permit. Well, if that's the case, my passport is that. And again, I should be able to drive, right? I shouldn't be arguing about whether I'm driving or traveling. I'm driving, nigga. What's happening? And right now, I have authority to be on the road and provisions. Like, yeah, I'm driving. I'm not arguing with you. Yeah, I'm out here. I'm doing private commerce. I have authority of the state. Remember, you're a state official. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the do not detain deals with your right to travel. All right, and so that right becomes a permission back when it comes out in republic, comes back out into the public. So this is your international driver's permit. Getting a firearm. with your passport, which is something I'm going to attempt to do as well, right? This aligns with your second right, your Second Amendment right, right? So in the public, you need a license to carry, okay? In the private, you have a right to bear arms. All right, so we take that right to bear arms and we republic it, meaning we bring it back out into the public. So now you have a lifetime open and concealed weapons carry permit. It's a permit. They're all permissions. The privileges are now permissions. They're secured permissions, authorizations. All right. And then again, this is my Fifth Amendment right, not to incriminate myself. This is my right to counsel and all of that here, right? You get stopped on the roads with the passport, you give them the passport. They can't say that you were non-communicative. When you hand them your passport, if you say nothing at all, you have exercised your right, to not speak, right? Without your attorney present. And you gave them your national state ID. So that's your attorney right there. Let them run that. Let them, by all means, run that passport. It'll tell you everything you need about me. Most likely, if I ain't did a damn thing, it's going to tell you, leave me alone. Leave me alone. So I hypothesize that when you have your driver's license and that you were able to get it using your passport rather than the social security number, that you have that provision on your driving too. So now you'll be able to drive. So you won't have that issue. Yeah, nigga, take that here. You're going to try to charge it, and it's just going to, again, it doesn't have the beneficial, it doesn't have the debtor account. So it's a secured account. So whatever you charge me with, nigga, it's over. I'm good. You run that information, most likely it's going to tell them, leave me alone. Right? It would be a beautiful thing if, we cultivated the minds of our children to go into law enforcement, to learn these things, and then to be able to come to us and tell us what's really what. That'd be great. But just saying. Islam, sis. All right. So, yeah. So, your passport exercises your constitutionally secured rights. That's what it does. Your passport invokes your constitutional provisions. Do y'all get where I'm going? So we're going to look through I want to look through this Constitution. The U.S. Constitution lets us know the rights that are recognized by everyone in America. And then your state constitutions tell you the rights that are recognized within your state. This is why it's necessary to have the state and to understand the state and federal constitutions. I'm missing something here. Mm-hmm. Okay. Article 1. Oh, tripping. Super tripping. It's in my hands and shit. All right, but hold on. Because I know exactly what it is now that I am looking for. We're going to go over, excuse me, these Bill of Rights. It's a bill, right? We're using our passports to discharge bills, aren't we? So let's look at these bills, shall we? Look at that. Give me 1 second. That's crazy. I don't know what I'm looking for. Oh, there we go. All right. All right. Here you go. So let me show y'all what I have in my hands, right? First 10 Bill of Rights, amendments, right? And then I have the Organic Constitution, right? So set off bills. So your passport is going to set off these bills. Do you understand? Your passport authorizes, right? First Amendment, your Bill of Right, right? Congress. What is Congress? Congress is the assembly, the board of directors, y'all, of the family of the national business. Shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. All right. So when I went and got my passport, right, and I had my fez on, right, lady says, oh, you know what, sir? I'm sorry, you can't wear hats. I said, oh, this isn't a hat. This is my religious regalia. She said, oh, okay, no problem. And we moved right on. There was no bickering back and forth. And right, I have a fez on and my passport. And just to show you all, because I had lost my card, my initial card. And so I had to get a new card, which meant I had to get a new picture. And so again, I'm just showing you. Right? Got my fez on. So I was able to assert my religious right off rip. Off rip. And I have my religious title of L. And I have 5 stars. Right? It says, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people, constituent members, peacefully to assemble. Islamically to assemble. But peaceful assembly means that you're able to come and make your own corporations. You don't have to work for someone else's corporations. You can come together and create your own. It says, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. They don't recognize my rights. Here's your authority. Here's your authority. Second Amendment. These are bills. Your passport is going to set off, discharge, zero out, balance, whatever the term that applies may be. All right. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, free nation, free national, free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So remember, I just expressed that getting yourself a firearm with this here, right? You now have your right republicked, right? So it's a permission in the public as, like I said in Pennsylvania, lifetime open and concealed weapons carrier permit. See, in the public, it has to be a permission. If it says public, it's a permission, whether it's public or republic. Republic just means to take the private and bring it into the public. All right? Out of darkness into light. Right? No soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. I don't think that we're dealing with that. The Fourth Amendment, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So this makes you not the person to be seized. And your person being seized, it says that if it's secure, they can't even infringe upon it. If you got rid of the social security number and got your passport, your national number, everything is secured. Your Fifth Amendment. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment, we talking commerce, or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces, or in the militia, with an actual service in time of war or public danger. It says, nor shall any person, remember, a person is an account. If you listen, it's saying the right of the people to be secured in their persons. So they're telling you that these are not the same. Okay, people have persons. People secure persons. People have unsecured persons if they haven't secured their person. You have a person. Your person is your personality. Okay? It's your character. It's your government's character. It's your official agent. There you go. This is your agent. Secret agent man, right? Anywho. It says, nor shall any person be the subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy, life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any crime case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. So I'm going to court on the 7th. We made it to trial. They want to play these games. That's fine with me. They took my private property. My property, yeah, the property was registered to the fucking state. You right, it was. And guess what? I'm the fiduciary. You took mine and you didn't compensate me. And you charged my secured person. It wasn't even like my person wasn't secure. My person's secured. And in the police report, he spoke of my secured person. Right? But this is you not having, again, if you get pulled over, right? Your Fifth Amendment to remain silent, I'm not going to say anything verbally because anything that I say can and will be used against me. So here you go. I'm not required to answer questions without my attorney present here. Well, who's you? The Secretary of State, nigga. Well, honey, right? Listen, man. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right of a speedy and public trial. Now, what is the accused at trial? The estate. The estate person. See, a fiduciary pleads the fifth. A fiduciary doesn't argue at all. That's the key. I'm not here to argue about nothing. I ain't got nothing to say here. Everything that needs to be said is said. You feel me? What they say was understood need not even be explained. You heard me? Right. Again, I'm not going to read all of these to you. Right? Ski. All right, so look, right? What is this? Article 2, Section... Look, Section 6. Remember I told you, you are a statesman, so you're a representative. It says the senators and representatives shall receive a compensation for their services for proper discharge of office. That's a fiduciary. That's an administrator. They shall in all cases except treason, felony, and breach of the peace be privileged from arrest during their attendance at the session of their respective houses, etc. But that's not even, look, where's it at? Because I know I saw it. We was talking to the money. All right, yeah. So, all right, anywho, no, ain't gonna be no anywho. I need to find. All right, so that was out of sec. Okay. So let me read that then. Section 8. Yep. Section 8. I want that to sit on your brain. What's Section 8 to you? You grew up in the projects. What's Section 8 to you? Check this shit out. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. But all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. They have the right to borrow money on the credit of the United States. Borrow credit. So again, this is why the set-off is supposed to work. I'm borrowing money on the credit of the United States. But since there's no money, I'm borrowing debits. And I'm exchanging them for credits. So again, I'm borrowing credit off the debt of Pennsylvania through the United States. To coin money? Nope, wait. Listen. To regulate commerce with foreign nations. All of those people out there authenticating their birth certificates so that they can show and prove that the full faith and credit of the state is backed on. And listen here, man. We already have the right to regulate commerce with foreign nations. You don't have to go through all of that shit. Among the several states and with the Indian tribes. To establish a uniform rule of naturalization and uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcies throughout the United States. The New Deal was a bankruptcy. Did you know that? 1933 was a bankruptcy. Yes, it was. To coin money, to regulate the value thereof. For every debit, there's a credit. Hey, they want $240 on the utility bill. All right, boom. $240 authorized. Get that shit out the way. Right? That's how it's supposed to work. Yeah, I just wanted to bring those things up, right? Your passport uplifts your professional capacity. For all of you, those brothers and sisters who have gone through all of these paper filling processes, right? Y'all have some really valuable skills to understand that paper pushing. Get your passport and then push that paper. Your bills of exchange, your remittance, couponing, your 1099s and all of that. Yeah, get your passport. And then let that always be your surety. Let that always be your principle. Let that always be that for you. How do I put it on the United States? How do I put it on Pennsylvania? Through the passport. Why? Because my passport says that I am acting as principal. And then I could take the hat off once everything is taken care of. And now I could be the equitable party. Yeah. You're only acting in behalf of the principal. Since the state can't show up in the physical, you appear as the state. Abracadabra. Restricted for some audiences because I started smoking. It is what it is. That's all right. The youngest don't need necessarily hear this from me this way anyway. That's for y'all to do. But if that's the case, I might as well go and light my motherfucking shit back up. Heard? All right, so I hope this has been helpful. Right? I'm pointing out certain things that I'm able to do. Again, because I don't feel like I've given enough credit to the brother. Um, Brother James C. Lovett, beast mode with legal work, right? Um, there's not too many other people out there that I've seen that I would say, you know what, um, I could listen to their information. So I don't necessarily agree with everything that the brother says, and he'll tell you the same, but I'm not going to sit here and ever try to like diminish that brother's character, or none of that, right? Yusuf was a nut ass nigga, but I will not come at that brother James like that. I fuck with the wolves, you know what I'm saying? I howl like a wolf my damn self. But anywho, I hope this has been helpful, right? I'm gonna keep you all posted, right? I really desire because I'm curious. I'm really curious to. Again, there's a sister. Um, there's a sister right now. Um, she's having the same difficulties that I'm having uh, with the utilities, right? And she's going to see about getting in touch with the CFO of the state, like or of the company, excuse me, like I have this information. I recognize that this information operates this way, and I don't know what I can do, but I know that there's something that you need to do to inform the people at the utility company, right? This has to be righted, okay? Because again, we're meeting opposition here when we know that we're operating off of the Emergency Banking Relief Act. We know that there is no money to pay. We understand for the most part, the economy that we're in. And so we recognize that these things, these set-offs and discharges, these charges and discharges, are a real thing in this economy, in this system. We're out here, we're going to do what we can, you know, because you yourself, see, when you know, and if you don't know, you could only guess. When you know a thing to be true, then whoever does not see that thing to be true is not even to me. When I realize the truth about things, I no longer pay attention to any naysayers, or if I'm listening to them, it's not for what they think about me, but for what I can observe of themselves. You know, I know this is supposed to work, and again, if it doesn't work, then I'm curious to know why did this happen with my gas. You know, the banking industry is resetting right now. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. The one thing that's not going to change, for the most part, in the next economy is your passport. When we get on this digital, when we get into the digi world, into the multiverse, your passport is still going to be able to get you where you, because Drew Ali, again, for me studying Drew Ali, he had a passport back then and he was busting his moves with his passport. And so it worked in that economy. We're seeing bit by bit that it works in this economy. And so we can only conclude that it will work in the next system, economic system that we're entering into. You know, I see that there are they're giving out real IDs now. This is the only real ID you will ever need right here. All right. Damn, I don't even have that printed out. So, yeah. I encourage you all in your spare time to look this up, this information I'm about to put on the board. If you haven't already. All right. I need to go back and check because it might be 1028 subsection 1508. Damn. Yeah, I can't. That's not. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, don't you hear me, baby? Yeah. Nope. Fuck. All right. All right. I'll still go on. So, if it's not 1508, 1028, then it's going to be 1028, 1508. But it says, so the U.S. Department of Justice, Criminal Resource Manual. Can someone type what he's writing? I can't see. Let me see. Let me see if I can do that for you. There we go. U.S. DOJ Criminal Resource Manual 1028. Oh shit. All right, cool. All right. Anyway, this tells you about 3 non-federal identifications or identity documents that one can use to establish their identity here in the United States, right? And it says that they are commonly accepted and given preferred treatment in the absence of a national identity card. This is what it says, right? And it tells you that these three documents, A, is the birth certificate, B, a driver's license, and C, a state ID. So it says that in the absence of a national identity card, three non-federal IDs can be used. And then it goes on to tell you about each one of these three. And it says that the birth certificate does not identify the person who claims it. All right, damn, I really wish that I had it. But it tells you that the birth certificate does not identify any person, and then it goes on to say, very few characteristics remain the same at birth throughout life. And so it's telling you that the birth certificate it's not meant to identify someone. Then it tells you that the driver's license, right? And it tells you it's issued by the DMV, whatever, Department of Motor Vehicles. And it says that it was never intended to be used as a national identity, but in the absence of a better ID, the driver's license has become commonly accepted as the national identity card. Then it tells you about the state ID. And it tells you that the state ID is just merely there to identify someone who does not have a driver's license. It tells you that none of these, in their original use, were created to identify someone in the United States. But we know that these three documents is what everyone is expected to use to establish their identity in the United States. I use these motherfuckers to get this, so I'm up. I don't ever have to use any of those anymore. I heard you don't need a social security number to open a bank account. This may be true, a social security number, but there is a 9-digit number. There is some number that's going to be needed to open an account. It just may not be, you're right, you don't have to use a social security. You may be able to use a passport number. You may be able to use an EIN. You're right. It doesn't have to be a social, but there's going to have to be a number to authorize an account. Or W-8 BIN number, whatever the case may be, right? I don't know too much about that, the W-8 BIN stuff. I hear a lot of that talk associated with people who are instructing people to come into the state, come into the United States as foreigners. So I stay away from anything that talks about being foreign to the United States. Okay, well, an EIN, yes. I thought you meant the W-8 Ben. All right. Yeah. All right. All right, so it tells you that a national identity card is all that is required to identify yourself in the United States. How can we see this is true? Look at the I-9 form. The I-9 form has 3 lists that show you what you can use to identify yourself in the United States, particularly when doing business, being employed, right? And in list A, the very first thing on the page, U.S. passport. Very first thing. If you use your passport, you don't need to use anything else to identify yourself. Very first thing, right? Then it has something about naturalization papers, etc. And it says that if you don't have anything on list A, that you must take up 2 things, one from list B and one from list C. Well, this is on list B. Whoa, yeah, hold on. So if you're going to do any type of business anywhere in the United States, they're going to require your birth certificate and social security number, or they're going to require your driver's license and social security number, or they're going to require your state ID and your social security number, right? But all of these, right, are inferior to the passport number. So in the United States of America, a national is identified by their national identity card. And again, I showed you all, and I'll show you again. Because I had someone tell me, oh man, that ain't no nationality card. That's a passport. It says passport on it. Yeah, it does say passport on it. It says nationality on it too. Hold on. Pardon. It says nationality on it too, right? And it says that my nationality is USA, right? All right. So that means that I'm an American. And then it tells you where my citizenship is, right? My birthright citizenship, right? It says birthplace, place of birth, Pennsylvania, USA. This is my nationality card. Fuck you mean? It just told me I'm a Muslim, Pennsylvanian American. That's what this told me. This is my nationality card. This is what you use to identify nationally in the United States. If you wish for your person to be nationally recognized and not just locally, you need to lead with your passport. Nationality is the order of the day. That's the order. So my national order is Pennsylvania. That's my national order. The order is the state. So my national state is Pennsylvania. And like I said, I am a constituent member of the state, meaning that I am vested with the authority of Pennsylvania and the United States of America. Yes, sir. as you all are or shall be. So again, a lot of our brothers and sisters, they got the right information. They don't have the mechanism. And they're trying to go out and create mechanisms. And it doesn't mean that it cannot be done. People, again, I've seen people, there is the possibility that people are reaching or receiving satisfaction, right, through their processes and procedures. Um, this process that I'm trailblazing with, it cuts right to the matter. Yes. Oh man. So I gotta find that. Mm. Give me 1 second. Oh shit. But all right, yeah. So I gotta look for something. So I'm gonna go ahead and take us on out. As always, I am your brother. Okay. All right. Cool. I ain't even got to jump off. Cool. All right. I don't even have to jump off, y'all. All right. Let's see. I am currently a U.S. citizen, but I was not born here. Can I become a United States national? You need a social security card. Do you have a social security card? Then you have a U.S. citizen and you yourself could become a U.S. national. Go get your passport. It's going to say your place of birth, right? You said you were not born in the United States. Let me see. Right, you weren't born here. Here's the beautiful thing about it. By you being born here, just because someone's born here, don't make them from here anyway. Okay, so there's no issue there for yourself. Consuming substance featured in this live could harm your health. Okay. Oh, you were born in Haiti? Plaque sake. Alright. Sac passe, pardon. So there should be no issue. You should be able to go get your passport. And so here's the thing. The passport is the national citizen. So if you go and get your passport, if you're able to get a passport, if you're able to get a U.S. passport, you are able to operate as a U.S. national citizen. So I hope that answers your question. If you're able to actually go and get yourself a passport, then get yourself the passport, and that makes you a national of the United States. You may not be a citizen because you weren't born here, but you're still a national here, and you will still have the rights of a national here, So I hope that helps. All right. Consuming, okay, whatever. Right? Boys and girls, smoking cigarettes is hazardous to your health. Absolutely. All right, but you know what? Now I am going to go ahead and shut down because it is 1:45 and some things that I may desire to do. Appreciate you all for coming, Brother David Shell. Let me show y'all one last thing before I sign out, right? For those of you who realize that there's something about the name, right? And people wish to not be the name, right? I'm going to show you the name and how to write your name so as to not be that name. So the Social Security, this stands for number or for name now, right? Would be, and again, I'm using myself as an example. Okay? This is the name that is on the Social Security card. This is how you operate in your fiduciary capacity. This is how you acknowledge yourself not as the surety or not as the defendant, but as the representative. Professionals use their last names first. This is the law, and the law must live. Right? You will find on your passport that your last name is first. So that's your straw man. First name first. Right, absolutely. Family name first. This is the house. This is the house. Don't let the house be in your name. Let the house be in the family's name. This is legal title. This is equitable title. You want to give this back to the state so that you can receive your equitable title. Okay? This is personal. This is professional. This is the public. This is the republic. Okay? All right. Got some business to tend to. I'm your brother, man. Pennsylvania, David Sell. Go out there and be yourselves, people.